Hi, I'm Bonnie Basco. I'm Rebecca's mom, and I've been homeschooling for 30 years. I started 30 years ago, only 29 because last year my youngest daughter went to school. I'm speaking to you here from the sunny shores of the Shuswap Lake in BC, specifically in Blind Bay. And I want to encourage you with the word freedom. To have freedom in your homeschooling, freedom to do things the way God sees you working. He's just going to pan around, maybe.
I just want to get a different angle of your beautiful hair.
Of my beautiful hair. There's a guy coming on the dock. Anyways, so often on Facebook page or in your blogs and responses to things that Rebecca's speaking about, I see comments like, is this enough? Am I enough? Am I going to wreck my kids? I'm not sure I can do this. Things like, am I spending enough time? Do I have enough books? I can't get this part or that part, and trying to fill in all the slots. And as homeschoolers, sometimes we want to have the tendency to try to homeschool the way school works, and it isn't the same. It's very different. And so I wanna encourage you with freedom, to have freedom to do things the way that you see fit, but also that work the best for you and your children. I used to read lots of it on Facebook. Now I have no internet where I live, so I'm not on Facebook much. But it would stir my heart, and I would think, yeah, they need freedom. So when I began homeschooling, I'd been doing it for a few years, and we didn't do anything formal for socials and science. I did more formal for math and language, but socials and science was just kind of there. And about 5 years into it, I decided that I was going to try and match and be on par with where everybody was at school, kind of for a test for me, but also I thought that that was going to be an important thing. And so the public schools were doing units on Greece, and so I chose to do a unit on Greece. I bought unit studies, I bought books, I bought workbooks, I bought all kinds of stuff to do a study on Greece. And it was okay. It was lots of busy work, lots of paperwork, and we could take it down to all the kids down. At that point, there was only 4 that were school aged, but we studied Greece. And after we were finished, I was mulling over what we had accomplished, and I realized it could have been any country. It could have been Norway. That's where my roots are from. It could have been Italy. It could have been anywhere. Because the point of studying Greece in that grade at that time was to teach the kids how to learn about a country. What would be important facts to look for? What would be culture? What would that have changed in their politics? So even though we were doing ancient Greece, and it was a great segue into Bible because we could talk about Paul's missionary journeys and whatnot, it was the big picture concept that was there. And even the schools that would have been doing Greece, it wasn't to remember all the details of Greece. It was to learn how to study a country. And if you were going to study a country, what kinds of things would you look for and where would you want to proceed with it? And so I bet if you queried Becca about all the details of ancient Greece and what she learned about their gods and all the other stuff, she'd kind of look at you with a blank look and go, I don't know. Because the details aren't really the part of learning. It's big picture learning. So tests or reading logs or keeping tracks of things, if those work for you and they're an asset to you as a tool, great, use them. But if they are creating a rule and standard and a thing that you gotta log all this on, and it isn't benefiting you, then you need to have the freedom to just let that go. and try and broaden your scope and just teach to the big picture. The greatest gift I think that I could give my kids, or that you can give your kids, is tools to learn. Encouraging them to want to learn. Sometimes you have to pick things that are relevant to them at that point and that time, or something they're interested in, to start to spur that, to give them experiences, and then that makes them want to know the when, where, why, how of things, and encourages them to learn. So make a pond in your backyard, or go to the ocean, or go to the science center, or build a birdhouse, build a picnic table. Do something that inspires them to learn.
Dissect the stomach contents of a fish.
Yes, we've done that too. Or frogs. Dissect some frogs. If you have a farm next to you, you can do a cow's eye, a cow's heart, any of those things. Opportunities for learning are everywhere. You can find opportunities to teach your kids when you're out boating. You can teach in the vineyard. God has taught me unbelievable lessons just while I'm working in the vineyard, as he speaks to me, and I'm cutting this or doing that, and I can apply it to my life. And I think that is a huge gift to give your kids, is for them to be able to learn from life around them, and then be able to know where to go for information on it. Life itself is an amazing teacher. We talk about the school of hard knocks. That's life, right? So if you can teach your kids to glean information about the world around them, you've already given them a significant tool in their belt. Learning to find facts and answer questions about what they are learning is important, but to be able to relay that information back to somebody else, speaking to their younger kids, talking to their grandparents about what they've learned, writing it in a letter, writing it in an essay, wherever they're at with that, being able to take in information is good, but being able to spit it back out is extremely valuable. However, there is a plethora of information out there. They can get information on anything, but not all of it is truth. And so teaching your kids to gather information, fill in the blanks, answer the questions is all good, because it's productive. It is discipline in their mind's eye. But to learn to distinguish truth, to find truth, to be able to know what is truth, that is the most important part. Because information in and of itself, knowledge in and of itself, is not always based on truth. Or knowing how to use that information, that's true wisdom. Wisdom is knowing how to use what you have learned. And so we want to go bigger picture rather than getting too down and saying we got to know all these details, because the details will get lost. But the truths of it, the principles of it, will not. And so your job is to prepare them for life, and equipping them with skills and opportunities to do that, to flourish. Dan often says,